then I moved to LA for 2.5 months and then met a girl there.
That's when you got into that relationship?
Exactly.
Okay.
And that was kind of at the point where like the whole partying thing was getting old. I'm
Okay.
just like,
Yep.
none of these people are my friends. I'm spending so much money. I'm like, I also didn't have a license still. So like I was Ubering everywhere. So I was like, man, like, I guess you could say like it was getting pretty shitty because I'm like, I just gave up the perfect girl who was like a ride or die, was loyal, doesn't follow dudes, doesn't talk to dudes, wouldn't do a thing behind my back. And like doesn't party, doesn't club, wants to be a mom. It believes in like blue and pink jobs. Like she'll clean the house, I pay the bills. Like
Okay.
she believed everything I believed. And I'm like,
Your ideology's aligned.
yeah. And I gave up all that to do this. I'm like, holy fuck. Like, what did I just do? So then, of course, I just meet this tiny little blonde girl who's verified, has tons of followers, is very well connected, comes from a very wealthy family, like more money than we could ever fathom.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, holy shit, like it's a heaven. I'm just like, and she's a U.S. citizen. So I'm just like, it seemed like everything was aligning because I'm like, I wanted to live in the States. So yeah, that kind of,
Sorry to interrupt. I just realized our camera just died.
We lost our camera. I need to use the washroom.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
We're going to take a
use the
pause and then we'll
washroom
be
too.
back, okay?
oh,
And we're back.
We are back.
All right. So we left off, Mark, with talking about you in a relationship in Florida.
or L.A.
Or sorry, LA.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, because I super regretted ending that relationship because, like, all my views started changing. Because I really got a full 2 months to, like, party. Because I was on and off with that girl for 4 years.
Yeah.
So, like, we would go out together or we would take, like, a 2 or 3 week break. But, like, I wouldn't be, like, really partying or being able to, like, live single, like, or, like, go crazy. So, like, for 2 months, I, like, went nuts in LA, like, one of the most expensive places that I thought I wanted to be. And I realized very quickly that everyone in LA just wants something from you or is fake or no one is actually your friend there. So like as much as this whole party life is good, you're just being used for what you have. And I realized very quickly like that wasn't what I wanted. But I don't regret it because I needed to go to LA to experience it to realize I didn't want it or I realized like how shitty that life actually was. So then I was kind of just like waiting out my time in LA because I was in a 3-month lease in like a 4-bedroom house there. And then met this girl at Gold's Gym. She was verified, had tons of followers, thought she was going to understand the social media, came from tons of money, was a US citizen. And I was like, damn, like it seemed like a match made in heaven. She was 30 though.
Okay.
So like, and she like, I was already like, okay, well, I started getting more into like, I think I want a family. I think I want like kids and all this. And she was like, I like want kids in the next like year or two. And I'm like, man, like I wouldn't mind that. And then she also had more money than anyone knew what to do with, at least her parents. Like she worked very hard for herself, owned her own 6-figure company that just signed a $3.2 million contract, which was going to start in 4 months.
Okay.
So like she was going to be a multimillionaire by like 32, 33.
Okay.
So that's when I really realized that I did not like women that like owned their own companies or worked or did anything like that.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, like dating her for 4 months, 5 months, I just like as much as she would like be able to, I guess, flip back and forth from that like masculine to feminine side, just like you can't, unfortunately. For like at least for her. Like she couldn't be like super nurturing, super motherly because of the whole company side.
So
it
there
was
was
like,
a very domineering side
yeah, so
on
it
a
was like
personal note?
Yeah, so it was like a constant fight, like back and forth. Obviously, I'm not going to bring up her stuff. I'll just say where I didn't show up. But like, I took everything that I should have applied with relationship number 3 and implemented it in relationship number 4. But I was implementing it with the wrong person.
Okay.
So like, relationship number 3, we meshed perfectly.
Yeah.
If I applied what I replied to in relationship 4.
Okay.
Because it turns out like what she was asking from me is actually what I wanted in a relationship. 2 people that were obsessed with each other, that didn't care about this whole social media thing. They're like, as much as it was our job, it was like, just don't have other people on social media. Like you're just obsessed. I follow 6 girls on social media and they're my friends of like wives. Like if I have, say I was your friend,
Yeah.
I would follow your wife.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
but I would not be following a single girl. So I don't follow a single female on my social media. I don't like girls' pictures. But back in the day, it would be like, I would follow them and like them in hopes that I could get them all together, have that stupid image.
But on a business side, isn't that the route that you should be taking? Is to follow a bunch of people, like them, comment, and then get the draws, the follows?
That's what I thought. So like
Okay.
when I was 20 to 24, that's what I thought. Like,
Yeah.
oh, I need to collab with everyone. I need to do this. No, collaborations don't get you anywhere. They don't. Like
Okay.
I've collabed with, again, now some of the most popular people on the planet.
Yeah.
And I'm no further ahead than what I've done by myself.
Yeah.
So like this whole, like, you need this person, you need to act like this is like what I thought you needed to do to get ahead was not even close to what you
Yeah.
had to do to get ahead. And you could argue, well, that got you ahead. Okay, for sure it did.
Yeah.
But now I'm also at the point that I don't want to do that. And I don't really like doing that.
Yeah.
And I don't like being used. I don't like these people's personality. And I actually don't like people that much, to be
Okay.
honest with you. I hate people. I hate talking to people because
And
nobody really
That's
has
the end of the podcast.
He doesn't like you. He doesn't want anything to do with you.
because nobody really has like
Yeah.
the same mentality that I have. Like again, there's you
Yeah.
guys who are
Yeah.
anyone that's successful in business has this similar mentality.
Mm-hmm.
But for the 95% of other people, they just look at you like you're nuts.
Yeah.
So I stopped, like, I guess I never cared what they thought, but now I don't even care if they're around.
So,
Right.
so you're attracted to this person back, and I'm going to rewind a little bit.
Yeah.
We're in LA, 3-month lease on the place.
Mhm.
Now, you get in this relationship, and it goes from 0 to 1,000.
Yeah,
Like-
very quick. Very quick, because at the same time, she would let me, like, she was like, hey, you need a car? Here's a car. So, boom, driving problem solved. I didn't have to take Ubers anymore. So that was a massive, like, plus. Mind you, I didn't have a license, but I didn't really care at the time. I was like, that was in
It's
a different...
LA. Can't you just rob a car and drive around anyways?
There's, like, no crime.
Stop by a tent, pick
Yeah.
up some stuff.
There's no crime in LA, so I just drove anyways.
Okay.
The house that I was living in, the two people I was living with, I didn't hate, but like they
Yeah.
were disgusting. I'm like a fairly clean person. I like
yeah.
things like tidy. Like there was like mold in like the counters. They would cook, leave the stove, absolutely disgusting. Guess who had a house? She had a house. Guess who I could move in with next week? She's like, so we like hit it off so quick. She's like, hey, you can take my car, drive it around LA. So LA went from being horrible to being amazing overnight. Because now I could go anywhere I wanted to go. I had a nice place to stay. She was obviously a good-looking girl. So I'm just like, everything started to come together. The only problem was she was moving to Texas 3 weeks after I met her. And I'm just like, oh, damn. She's like, I'm like, okay. But because it went 0 to 100 so fast, I didn't really have time to get to know her. She's like, move to Texas. I'm like, sure, I don't care. So I just moved to Texas. Because
all right.
because I don't really have to be anywhere.
Yeah.
And like I would rather look back and being like, I did it, rather
Yeah.
than look back and be like, what could have that been? Because who knows? Like I could have ended up marrying this girl, falling in love with her. We could have had kids, died with the girl. It would have been amazing. Or I could have been like, no, I'm going to stay in LA, go back to Canada.
Live with
and then
regret.
my whole life, I'd be like, I wonder if I took that risk, what would have happened?
Yeah. Yeah.
So like at least I went for it. Like a lot of people can't say that.
I'm going to call it the Plummer effect. The 0 to 1,000.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, do you want to move across the country with me into
Sure,
a house? So you
why
know
not?
it? Yeah, why not? But
Sounds
like
good.
actually though, because
Yeah,
it
yeah.
all stems back to that. If I died that night, would I want to say no or yes? And
Yeah.
I would have wanted to say yes. And that's the way that I live. If I want to say yes, I'll do it. If I want to say it, I'll say it.
Yeah, for sure.
So everything went super good. When I moved to Texas, obviously we started having massive problems. And then those problems kind of like led me back because I don't care what anyone says. If you date, the more people you date, the more people you compare your previous person to. As shitty as that is. And that is why men or women, and I know that women have more of like a bonding hormones in their body. So obviously women that have more partners than men, it's like even worse for women. But I don't care what anyone says. If you're a man and you date 100 people, you'll compare that 100th person to the 99 previous people. And same for the girl. And like that's exactly the situation I got myself into. Because when I was in Florida and LA before I met her, I was obviously talking to people, dating people, like sleeping around. And I was like, every single person, I'm like, shit, it wasn't her.
Yeah.
Oh man, like they don't compare to her. So I would never end up getting in a relationship with them. This last relationship was as close to number 3, but like soon, probably 4 months in, I was like, it's never going to be number 3. But then kind of like you lay your bed and you make it like, or you make your whatever, you
Yeah,
dig
yeah,
your grave, lay in it now. I was like, after 4 years of trauma, being super immature, super bad person to that girl, I'm like, I'm never ever going to be able to get girl number 3 back. So girl number 4 is close. I should settle with her, right? So
And
that's
what-
basically what I did.
Yeah.
And I don't care what any single person says, is like, you do sometimes find the one and you're like, this is the best girl I've ever got. There's also 50% of people out there that are like, that was the one that got away. And my wife isn't that person.
Yeah.
So I know 10 people that I can name on one hand
Yeah.
that were like, I had a perfect relationship. I fucked it up. The wife that I'm with now isn't even close to that relationship that I had.
Yeah.
So,
So now you're in Texas.
so
and
now I'm in Texas with this girl traveling back and forth from Canada to Texas because I don't have a U.S. citizenship.
And so how long does that go for?
That goes on. Well, there was a lot of traveling. We had to go back to LA a few times because that's where she was from and that's where her company was based out of.
So why did she move to Texas?
She got robbed in LA because LA, like you said, there's no like crime reform. You can rob someone broad daylight. You won't even go to jail anymore.
So she moved just to get away.
Yeah, her house got robbed at gunpoint and she was like, I need to move to Texas. Texas, obviously. More
You can have a gun.
conservative guns. Like, yeah,
Isn't that funny, eh?
Yeah, no like liberal stuff. Like,
Yeah.
it's very like redneck. Like, if you come on our property, you'll get shot.
Yeah.
So,
Well, you'll get either you get some ribs or you get shot.
yeah. And the price point. I mean, we
Oh,
were in
yeah.
the house there was 700,000, like 3,000 square feet, pool, sauna. Like, the house in LA was like 1.8 million. It was like a shack.
Yeah.
So like your price per dollar in Texas as well. Not to mention LA taxes, crazy. Texas, no income tax.
Mm-hmm.
So
Jesus.
several reasons to move to places like Texas or Florida.
So at some point you thought she was the one.
Yeah, I mean, I always knew that she wasn't going to be girl number 3, but I also thought I fucked myself over so hard with girl number 3 that I'm just like,
Settled.
I didn't settle, but if you think, and I know Jordan Peterson says this a lot, and a lot of other if you think that you're going to find your perfect person, you're delusional because you're not.
Yeah.
It's for a lack of better word, mold this person into your perfect person.
Or can you be the perfect person that will attract the person you're looking for?
Yeah. Or overlook, is there flaws? Is there goods enough to overlook their flaws? Like, can you live with this person for the rest of your life, given what you don't like about them? Because if you like, I don't think anyone could sit here and be like, my wife is perfect. I love every single part. Like, there's going to be something that annoys you about that person. Is that good enough to overlook? And in my mind, at that time, being 5 months into the relationship, I'm just like, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So then, proposed for several reasons. There was, as immature as it sounds, like we were dealing with a lot of the back and forth, Canada versus US. As much as we both worked remotely, we also knew that a marriage would fix that long distance. So was the marriage rushed for a citizenship? I would say 70% yes.
But you were both okay with that.
We were both okay with that because at the same time, like, how are you going to get to know somebody if you have a long distance relationship for 6 months of the year? Yeah. Like, I am, like you said, I'm the Mark Plummer effect, 0 to 1,000 real quick.
Yeah.
My next relationship is like, okay, works out 1 month, then move in. And like, that's it. And if you don't, I don't want to waste a year getting to know you.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to waste it. I'm 25. I'm going to waste, or almost 26 now in a few months. I'm going to waste so from 26 to 27, move in with you at 27 and then find out that I cannot live with you or you are a different person to live with. Yeah. No, I'm not wasting a year getting to know you. We hit it off. Our values align. Yeah. Okay, cool. Move in. And like, you don't have to pay. Like, move in for free, live for free, see if it works. And in 3 months, we make the decision.
That's the only part of you that's not the 1950s husband. You know what I mean? Like, that's like the complete opposite of the 1950s husband.
Yeah.
But so you get proposed. You propose. It's essentially a business contract, if you will.
A business contract,
to an extent.
At the same point, like, we also thought like this would work forever. Like, there was no doubt in either of our minds at the time that we would not be compatible for life. Like, as much as I said, when I make a certain dollar amount, I'm like, I want you to sell your company and quit. She's like, done. Like, deal. Like, she didn't want necessarily to do that.
Okay.
Like she did deep down, like want to just raise a family and chill at home. So like, I'm just like, when I do this and like, I can make sure that, mind you, my expenses in Canada are not nearly as much as they were in Texas. Mind you, even being with her, I was paying for half of her $700,000 house, plus my house here. Plus I left a month early in LA. So I was paying for a month that I wasn't living in LA. I paid $8,000 just in rent for like that month. So like I knew that like I needed to make a certain dollar amount that I could make sure I could cover a $700,000 house plus all the traveling plus all the cars because we had 3 cars. So I'm just like, okay, like you keep your company, but when I do this, you're done everything, you raise the family. And she agreed. So like in terms of like standpoints, like as much as I didn't like her personality, maybe she never would have quit the company and she was just talking, but at that point she would have.
And you just said her personality. So you had issue with her personality,
Yeah.
but still willing to marry her?
Yeah, because there was enough to overlook. Because I was always, as much as I don't look to the future, I'm just like, okay, she wants a family and she believes in the blue and the pink jobs. And she wanted like more of like a traditional, like she didn't want to work, but she was put in a position that she had to work because no one would take care of her because we live in 2023. A lot of it's, 50, 50, 50, 50. Yeah. There's not many guys that will come out and be like, listen, I want to pay for you.
Yeah.
Like I would say like that's a very, very small minority now that like wants to like fully support their wife. So like most girls are put in the position that they have to go work. Even if they want to be a mom, they can't.
Well, I think a lot
cost of living too.
and cost of living and everything else. Like we've like set it up that like you almost need 2 incomes to survive.
Yeah, that's what I was just going to say, is that 2 income is a big portion of, especially in, I mean, we're in Ottawa and
it's not even 2 anymore. It's like 2.5. If you like 2 people work full time and then they're on Uber Eats at night driving your food.
Yeah.
It's crazy, man.
yeah, I was just going to say, you would know yourself, Mark, in the realtor industry itself. It's I mean, what does the average townhouse in Ottawa, what's it going for?
Well, depending on the area, but the average townhouse around 650, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's slightly on the decline now, isn't it?
Yeah,
like it was pushing like 700-800s.
Yeah.
like peak post COVID.
Yeah, May of 2020, May of last year.
Yeah.
So it was a townhouse was around close to 800,000, and now it's around 6 and change.
Yeah.
But it's still expensive for what it is, you know.
Yeah.
And with our basket of goods that they call our inflation index, which is total BS, you can't afford to live, man.
Yeah.
95% of our mortgage payments for people at the interest rates that they're at right now are actually interest payment. So if you were to buy a house at 6% interest right now, and your payment is, say, which is the average, is like $5,000 for that kind of a payment, 4,300 of it is interest. Yeah. So 95% of your payments just going to the banks. Like it's wild, man. It's wild. Yeah.
wow. So
Enjoy that.
So the two of you have this agreement. What changed in that then?
Just a lot of, we found out that like you can't marry for citizenship anymore. It takes about 3 years post COVID.
Yes.
So they're like super backed up. So even if you were to get married to someone, it would take a very, very long time to like actually be able to live in the States, like 3 years long.
Yeah.
Back in the day, it used to be like 4 months. Like you'd apply and everything would be good to go.
Yeah.
But even aside from that, like even getting rid of the distance, like we were on the same page about everything. And that's why we were like, okay, let's do it. But then as like the distance started getting, and like toxic is fun when you're together. Toxic is not fun in long distance. Because like when you're trying to solve problems like halfway across the planet from somebody, like that's where like it doesn't really make sense. Especially I'm a very like touchy, like need to be face to face, like affection person. She was also like that. So like if you can't like hug it out, have makeup sex or anything like that, like you're not really gonna get very far if you're just screaming at each other on a phone.
Yeah.
So like so when I got back to Canada, we've gotten like kind of the same like toxic behaviors, but there was like never a resolution. So like one problem would lead into the other, which led into the other, which just ended up in resentment.
Yeah.
And then ended up into like ultimatums. And I'm like, this can't be how this is working.
Yeah.
And then I ended up getting injured. I ended up getting rejected entry to the States. And then when I realized, like, I'm like, oh shit, I can't go to the States for a little bit. That's kind of where we were just like, should we just call this? And then she was kind of like, no. And I was like, listen, like, I'm just going to do it for the both of us.
Realist.
And, yeah.
So I guess that's a good transition is to talking about PDs.
Yeah.
How did you get
Smooth.
So
And BDs.
yeah. So
Yeah.
let's. How did you get denied entry?
So I was already on a watch list for potentially staying illegally because I do
And explain that. Yeah.
Yeah, technically speaking, like if you spend 6 months in the States, you only have to come back to Canada for 1 week and then you can go spend another 6 months in the States.
Yeah.
You just have to be back in Canada for a certain amount of time. You do lose your OHIP coverage if you do that. I didn't really care about that. But at the time, like I stayed long enough in Canada that I kept my OHIP coverage and would go back to the States for 4 or 5, 6 months. And then I came back to Canada. If you do that too many times, you get like red flagged.
Yeah.
Because then the US wants you to pay taxes in the US because technically you're using their roads, using their services, using everything. Yeah. So because I stayed so long in the States and the one time I was going, I brought my motorcycle, I brought everything. It really did look like I was going to live there. I had no intention of living there. I still had my house here. I still had all the paperwork showing I had a house here, but they did not think. They said, oh, if you go over there, I could just cancel it off. The border people are also very, very smart on asking you like trick questions into like saying what they want to know. Yeah. So they found out that I applied for a visa to live there permanently, which was just like an E1 visa through my companies, saying that I need to be in the States in order to fulfill my business needs. Yeah. So they said, has that went through? I'm like, no. And they're just like, so what if it doesn't? Then you're even more likely to stay there illegally. Fair enough. Yeah. So I got basically red flagged. So I came back to Canada, went back. Because I was red flagged, got pulled into secondary customs, which I thought they were just going to go through my documents. I brought massive paperwork of like, when I got arrested, all the charges were thrown out. Because I got arrested for like stupid stuff. Public intoxication, trespassing, like never real crimes. Right. Just like kids being kids, like climbing a crane and getting a trespassing charge. Cool. Like I'll go hire a $10,000 lawyer to get that thrown out. Yeah. Public intoxication because I lipped back a cop on a sidewalk who was giving me attitude because I was intoxicated. So then I got a public intoxication charge, but I got that in the States. Yeah. So I went to a Miami jail, then needed to hire. That cost me $13,000 to get all those charges removed. Because if you get a charge in the States, like you can't have tourist visa. Yeah. So I needed to pay for that to disappear. But somehow the border has all that. So I needed to bring like a document full of this just to get into the States. Yeah. I got hurt going to compete in a powerlifting meet. I was on crazy drugs. I was on 500 milligrams of test, 500 milligrams of tren, halo, like basically any drug that would make you strong. Because I was going to break the all-time world record in the untested division for 198. I ended up getting hurt 5 days.
I don't think you need to say that it was the untested division.
True. So I wanted to like compete, and then I got hurt. I was like, shit. But all the tickets were non-refundable. So I'm like, screw it. I'm just going to go to Miami and party. Because this is right with my fiance, I guess, and I called things off. So I'm like, shit, I'm jacked. I'm big. Yeah. I'm doing okay in business. Let's go to Miami and just typical Mark, like let's fuck shit up. So I brought 2 syringes of testosterone because obviously you can't go from 500 to zero. Yeah. And even if you brought PCT, HCG, Novadex, and Clomid is still on a restricted flying list. Like it's still a drug. So I just brought 2 syringes of testosterone, 1 cc of testosterone each, so I could inject my natural testosterone limit, like TRT.
TRT, yeah.
Anyways, they ripped apart my suitcase and found the steroids. Canada, it's not illegal to have steroids. It's only illegal to buy and sell. A cop would have to physically see the transaction happen of you giving someone money and them giving you steroids for it to be illegal. Yeah. So more or less in Canada, you get a slap on the wrist, you're good to go. Yeah. In the US, if you have any steroid, even a pack, you're going to jail. Yeah. And there's like no ifs, ands, or buts. It would be the same as you having a bag of cocaine, meth, heroin, same charge.
The scheduled
one substance.
Of substance.
Yeah. So
it's crazy to me.
Yeah. So
like they have bodybuilding shows everywhere, and obviously they're on stuff.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's
so they found that, and then they were gonna bar me up to a like lifetime. But I was polite, respectful. Like obviously I'd be if you show me disrespect, I'll probably lip you back or something.
Yeah.
But like everyone deserves respect. Like,
Yeah.
especially elders, just the way I
Yeah.
was raised, like, don't disrespect people. I was very nice and I took self responsibility. I'm like, listen, I did try to bring this. I was like, you do
Yeah.
what you have to do. And because I was so open, so honest and respectful, they banned me for 6 months,
Yeah.
up until July. So
Of July of
2023.
2023.
Yeah.
So those that are listening were April.
Yeah.
So we got
3 months from now, Mark's back in LA.
yeah. So watch out, Miami.
Yeah. But no, I've actually like grown to not like that scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, like this is why like everyone's like, man, you can't go from living 4 years of saying the stuff you said. I'm like, I really don't want to go back. Like I move into a bigger house in Canada. I'm buying a house here. I just want like long term more wealth and like I want to start like something solid instead of living out of a suitcase.
So let's dive into that. Like when right before all of this happened, we had talked, and you were everything on social media was you're dead set against Canada.
Yeah.
You were frustrated with the COVID restrictions. You were frustrated with. I think that was a big part of it. But you were basically like, screw this. I'm done with Canada. And then you're like, I'm leaving. I'm done.
Yeah.
And this conversation today, it's a very different Mark sitting in front of me.
Yes and no. I still hate Canada. I hate it here. The tax structure here is ridiculous. The leadership here is ridiculous. Most people are honestly ridiculous here. They're sheep. They can't think for themselves.
Yep.
They work a 9-to-5 government job. They take their 32 mental health sick days a year. And they get a pension that won't exist by the time they retire. And they're going to be like truly screwed. And they think the way I think is completely messed up. Okay. So like if I did have the opportunity to leave, I still would. I just have lost the opportunity to live somewhere else.
Do you still prefer America?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, it depends on the state you live. Like LA, obviously not. But like outskirts of Florida, Texas, is all perfect places. Just purely on like the more conservative approach. Okay. They kind of saw through the whole COVID hoax, and they also don't have a tax structure that kills people. They actually like benefit to like the people that work hard.
I think a good, and this could also come from age, but you're 25 when you're looking at 8 years of liberal government. Mm-hmm. It's a fair to say significant significant difference from even Stephen Harper.
Oh man,
approach. Mm-hmm. So it'd be interesting post next election. Yeah. To see
what happens
and how your views are, because from my limited knowledge of the government, but just living and trying to absorb as much as I can, it is a very different approach to it. So I mean, those taxes and things like that to an extent are not going to change. Yeah. Absolutely.
But when you get at a certain level, and I'm sure you guys know this too, is like there's a certain wealth level that you hit where these rules don't even apply to you anymore. So I'm hoping I can get to that level before shit really hits the fan. Because a lot of the wealthy people that I know here, which is why I'm like, okay, I'll invest in properties here, because I do anticipate in the next year or two, like hitting this level where it's like, okay, my LLC's in Delaware or it's in Dubai. All the money's funneled through somewhere else, transferred back to me through like a shitty $30,000 salary. And I'll pay tax on $30,000 and all the rest of my money's not taxed. Because like a lot of these people, again, are just buying a residence or a condo in Dubai, getting a Dubai residence, and Dubai, there's no tax.
No tax there.
So, but you have to hit that certain type of wealth to be like, okay, I can buy a $40,000 condo in Dubai and not live in it. Yeah. So like you have to hit that level. But now that I've started to like approach a more higher end, now it's more long-term thinking of like, okay, like where can I strategically play my cards here instead of just like still having fun, but like less having fun, more of like, okay, let's do this to make sure that I don't go broke. Because a lot of social media influencers have gone broke, will go broke, and there's going to be a shitstorm that hits social media very soon. I think sooner than people realize.
In what way?
This whole like influencer thing is not going to last forever. Yeah. There's way too many people that are making money on like influencing. Because think of the first people that started drop shipping. They made killings. Every ad on Instagram was, you can make 6 figures a month drop shipping. Start a drop shipping company right now.
Yeah.
You are competing against a million other 16-year-old boys in their basement trying to do this. Then there was like so many of these like quick trends that took off. You can't make money on anymore. It's too oversaturated. And now social media is getting even way too oversaturated than anyone can comprehend. Unless you start a company that's kind of unique to something or fixes a problem, I don't think many people are going to make money from it because it's just too overpowering.
Yeah. No, it's a good point, because there's a whole society right now of youth
That don't want jobs. Fuck the 9 to 5.
Exactly.
Like, it's like, okay, well, at least we all put in, well, you guys more than me, but like, at least I put in like 10 years into the 9 to 5 building something else. There's these 16-year-old kids that like think that they don't need to work or get any life experience, and then they can just go online and be multimillionaires.
Well, people think that there's an economy of YouTube channels. They're like, the world needs to where we can't all do YouTube.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, there's an element of that to it, but
Yeah, I think that's it's interesting. I know I get kind of frustrated when I see. I don't even get frustrated anymore. I think I used to get frustrated when I would see even pro athletes. I'd look at a pro athlete and they're making hundreds of millions of dollars, and they're doing no good in society or very limited. And I see all these people that are busting their ass and they're just scraping by. Yeah. And it's, you know, I just get really frustrated with that. I'm like, man, that's not fair. Like,
I mean, that's where we differ as people, though. I'm a little more douchey. Yeah. I'm just like, okay, the people that are at the top deserve, 90% of them deserve to be there. Yep. At the same time, though, I do see where you're coming from. Like, you have to be lucky in business. I don't care what anyone says. Like, you can outwork. No, you can't. Like, stop. If you start a company tomorrow and your first employee robs you, accidentally burns the place down, does something shitty, and you have to close your company after taking out $100,000 loan from the bank, and you have to file for bankruptcy for the next 7 years, the chances that you can come back from that in your lifetime is next to none.
It's hard.
So, like, these people that are like, oh, just work hard, work hard. No, you have to work very hard, play very strategic, and also get very lucky. I know people that have done YouTube for 20 years who have never taken off. And you could argue, oh, their content's just not good. At the same time, it's like, did they just never hit the algorithm? Yeah. I try to look back at myself 4 years or 3 years ago now. What happens if that video didn't hit the algorithm and didn't get 2.4, 2.6 million views? I would be working a 9 to 5 job at a supplement store because I wouldn't have had the traction or the funds to start the companies. Yeah. Mind you, would I've probably found another way? Yes, because usually these people do find some other avenue. Yeah. But like, you try, you fail. You try, you fail. Some people try, they hit it, and then they keep going. But if you were to just keep trying and failing, eventually, then you have a family, you have responsibilities. You can't take the risks anymore. You have to like sit down and be like, accept your reality, accept your fate.
Well, I think now there's a lot of opportunity out there for people to make money.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things that weren't available 20 years ago to make money. Yeah. When you look at it, even when you said to your parents, I'm going to make money, well, they've got AOL dial-up. Yeah. And you have this vision of making money off of it. Even at that point, it was just starting to really take off that people could do that. Yeah. Their generation, I mean, they started with no TVs. Yeah. Exactly. You know what I mean? Like, look at innovation and how it's changed lives. Yeah. You know, it certainly will be interesting to see how that transitions over the next 10 years, right?
But kind of back to the point is like, TikTok's not gonna be around forever. It'll be banned in the next 6 months. Yeah, in TikTok's my personal opinion. Yeah. And now that this Bill C-11 has just been pushed through, it's only a matter of time. It's like, oh, well, they're gonna push Bill C-11 through, which I highly doubt won't go through. Now they can censor anything they don't want you to see. So it's like if you even come out about, mind you, like you can post PG stuff and not touch on the topics they don't want and still get popular. But if you are one of those person that thrives or popular on topics that they don't want the internet to see, you're going to slowly go down. And now that this chat GP whatever thing can basically write and say anything that you could say, Like, what do you think is
Yeah.
going to happen?
Let's touch on that. Let's touch on this bill, because this bill is certainly going to affect you
Yeah. Oh, of course.
in every aspect of your life. It's
Yeah.
going to affect you. So
Yeah.
so those that aren't familiar with this bill, let's dive into it. The bill itself, Canadian lawmakers have pushed forth this.
Lawbreakers, you mean?
Lawbreakers have pushed forth.
Let's not call them lawmakers.
Yeah. Legislation.
Yeah.
And censorship in Canada, as we know it, will be completely different if this goes through, to the point where there's a lot of people protesting it now, saying, "Well, wait a second, this is China. This is what we saw happen in communist countries with dictators that are controlling the narrative." But I think it's fair to say we've also seen the narrative be controlled for many 3-4 years now.
Since
3 years.
Trudeau's been in office.
Yeah.
Let's be real.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So what is your game plan now that this bill could go through? Because the Mark Plummer of even, I think, joking around of having roid rages, or joking around about slapping a woman's ass end, that censorship isn't going to exist. Like,
No,
that
I
censorship
know.
will be in place. And those videos, I don't know that they'll even exist.
I don't think they'll exist either, because like they said, they are trying to like demasculize men. So like all my standpoints on like relationship, providing, supporting, being a man is going to be gone. Steroids are technically not illegal, but they're not really legal. So I'm going to guess all that content is going to be gone. So yeah, I haven't really thought about it too much. That's also why I'm hustling so hard now, and really just trying to make as much funds and as many income sources now, because I don't have to be anywhere specifically. Like, I can go anywhere.
Yeah.
So like if I do have to go to Thailand, or do have to go to Mexico, or do have to just straight up pack up everything and leave, that will most likely be like the most possible outcome. Because if you can't say what you want to say, and like any information that you have won't get out of the country, there's not much you can do.
People leave countries like that for a reason.
Yeah.
Right?
People think you can fight the government. Unfortunately, you can't. I think that showed more than anything during COVID here. Not really that anyone did fight back.
Except for the truckers, but
the
that
truckers
obviously didn't get far.
Exactly. So it's like people think that they can fight back anything that the government's doing. Like, I don't. I don't really even pay attention much to politics. I joke around about it all the time. And I obviously have my beliefs. But man, like, whoever is going to win is going to win. Your vote, unfortunately, like, as much as conspiracy theorists think, I don't think your vote really matters.
No?
Whoever they want to win is going to win that election. There's not really much that you can do, unless there was a pure 100% majority that was going to vote one way. But especially in Ottawa, I'm sorry, but like, most people have like the mindset of like, I feel bad for poor people, they should pay less tax. Instead of, I feel bad for the rich person that has to pay more tax.
Yeah.
Because it's like, well, you have more money than everyone. Well, yeah, I worked to get here. Why should I be paying more? I should be paying the same as everyone else. Just because I make well into the six figures, why does my tax bracket go up?
Yeah.
So like,
there's lots of argument on that.
but like, that's
sure.
the same standpoint of like, I don't see many people that work for 9-to-5 government job, because Ottawa is a government-based town,
For sure.
that are going to vote conservative on the next election. I don't, unfortunately. And most people, if you look at the fight back on COVID, we were the minority that fought back. That said we shouldn't have the lockdowns. Because I know 80% of people loved getting their $1,600 every 2 weeks for not going to work. They would
strategic, right? Like,
they would love for that to happen again.
So any Americans or anybody outside of Canada that's wondering what Mark's talking about there is, in Canada, there was what's called CERB that got given to individuals that were affected by COVID. COVID relief fund is what they originally termed it, I believe. But essentially what happens is that they were given a lump sum of money every single month, and they did not have to go to work anymore. Even if those individuals had opportunity, it seemed like there's a lot.
Or if they were in jail.
Yeah, or if they're in jail. There's a lot of individuals that manipulated that service, and it's coming out more and more now. But I don't know the numbers exactly, but I think the last I heard that the government actually wasn't going after those individuals.
No,
that
they
min-
just gave them because they gave out two. They said we gave so many people money that'd be too hard to track down who deserved it and who didn't.
Yeah.
So they just wiped it. So I don't feel, and that's why like I don't have really much hatred to Canada.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't choose to live here. I'm living here because it's way too hard to get a U.S. citizenship. Number two, I hope that girlfriend number 3 takes me back, and she is a ride or die. She lives here, and if everything goes well, I'll be like, hey, we're moving, and there really won't much be of a question. So,
No, that's good. Let's dive into enough of government stuff.
Yeah,
get
government's
canceled quick.
depressing.
Government's
Or
deep.
now we're gonna have what, like 8 different labels on the podcast?
Yeah.
And we just get canceled as soon as the bill starts. We're done.
Jeez.
It's gonna show up. Your show's over.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Yeah. Your guest, Mark Plummer, you thank him.
Guilty by association. Oh,
Damn it.
no, but to go back to just one final state on that is I feel like I need to get so ahead now
Yeah.
that when shit does hit the fan, it won't affect me.
Well, and I think that's
But I feel like that's for everybody right now.
Yeah.
Especially me, because I will be kicked off the internet.
for sure.
There's no ifs,
Yeah.
ands, or buts that all my pages will be, because I've already got my accounts banned
Yeah.
for saying stuff I wasn't supposed to. That was before this.
Yeah.
So it's just like when they do pass this, they'll be like, gone, done. And if my companies or income properties or other investments are not doing well, I will be the person flipping your burger.
Yeah. Well,
And-
I mean, let's touch on reality though, is that you are now putting yourself into position using your social media, that influencer title that you don't like, but using that position to give you a opportunity to open other businesses, to have other source income, which is smart. You know the reality. You know that it's not sustainable.
I knew that from the day I started social media. Like I said, I didn't know how these people that had so much social media influence were broke.
Yeah.
I was just like, and it was the same thing that all of these kids are doing is they start social media and they're like, okay, I'm going to get a sponsorship and I'm going to get my code and pump my code. Use my code for this. Use my code for this. That is okay if you have 4 other things that are yours on the side. Because what happens if that company goes under? You're just going to lose all your money.
Yeah, I mean, it comes back to, I think, basic business of diversifying your portfolio, whatever that looks like. But it's not to put, lack of a better term, but all your eggs in one basket, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You have to.
Or no basket for a lot of these kids. They just think, oh, I'll have 1 million followers, I make money.
For sure.
Yeah.
So let's talk about how you're diversifying it, because it's started with social media, use that to gain clout,
Yeah.
and then business number 1.
Yeah, so I mean, I was very strategic. I'm all like all in or nothing, like this whole 100%, but I'm not stupid.
Yep.
A lot of people are like, "Oh, you're so risky." No, everything I do does have calculated like pros versus cons. I don't just make decisions because I make decisions and hope they work out. That is why a lot of the companies I've started and currently have are successful. I'm not just like, "Oh, let's try this. It's fun." Like, no, I'm quite intelligent in running companies. So when I first took off on social media, got 2.6 million views, got 30 or 40,000 followers on YouTube. Instagram started taking off. I'm like, okay, let's test the waters and start running stuff. So then I just started online coaching because that took 0 upfront money. And I'm like, let's see if people hire me as a coach. Simple as that.
Yeah.
And like, let's charge like a little bit more, like $200 USD.
Okay.
So 4 months goes by, I have like 26 online clients. I'm like, okay, perfect. I'm making more than my manager job at a fitness equipment store.
Okay.
But I'm just like, I understand that social media, you're hot 1 minute, you're cold the next. So like, let's not quit my job right now. Let's see like what I can do on top of this to like really make a safety net.
Yeah.
So then I started a peptide company.
Yes.
Because peptides are some gray area that like you can sell them. They're not necessarily, well, they are fully illegal now. To put a disclaimer out there,
Yeah.
peptides as of last week are illegal. You can't-
Illegal?
Illegal.
I thought they were legal.
No, last week they just
Why did they make peptides illegal?
because they actually help you.
Oh, yeah,
Well,
right.
exactly.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I started a peptide company. That peptide company grew 0 to 6 figures in 4 months. So I was
4
like,
months.
4 months. Yeah, we brought in $100,000 of revenue
So
of gross sales. So I'm like, damn, like, and that was on top of the personal training stuff. So I was making like 4,000, 4,500 at my actual like 9 to 5 job, doing everything else from like, cause I went to the gym after work. I would work like 9 till 2 every night on all this other stuff and keeping the YouTube videos up. So like I was for like a year and a half, I was only sleeping like an hour, 2, maybe 4 hours a night because I needed to do my own company and all the online training and personal training and my own YouTube videos because I didn't have an editor and work my 9 to 5 job. And I did that for about a year.
And what peptide did you take to keep you awake?
But yeah, I did take a lot of Adderall. Like, I'm not going to lie. I don't have ADHD or anything, but like it is crazy. Like how you could go 24, 48 hours without sleeping and actually have the alertness like you just woke up.
High functioning.
Not to like hype up Adderall.
Just blows my mind how they just legalized like heroin and cocaine and stuff in BC, and then in that same time made peptides illegal.
Yeah, I know.
just can't. I'm sorry.
Wild.
I get it why, but
Exactly.
Yeah.
So then when I did both of them for a consecutive year, I'm like, okay, personal training hasn't died off. Social media hasn't died off. The peptide company hasn't died off. I'm like, time to quit my job. And at that time, I had a good chunk of money saved up.
Yeah.
Because I had all the income from that plus the 9 to 5. And like all I was paying was like $1,800 for like a shitty apartment in Saint Laurent and a car at the time. So I was just like, that was perfect. So made the choice to quit my job. Minute I quit my job and I could put all the effort into those two things, doubled in the next 2 months. Yeah, because I had an extra 8 hours a day to work on these two things. So I doubled those. Then it got to the point where it like was kind of like stagnant for 6 months. And I'm like, shit. I'm like, damn. I also had time. That was kind of stagnant. It didn't seem like sales were going much higher.
Yeah.
So the only thing you could do is start another company. So I'm like, shit, what did I happen? So going back into steroids, I have like tons of acne scars. Because back then there was no logic or knowledge about PCTs. And as much as I had help from an IFBB pro, he wasn't there holding my hand.
No.
So like I came off 500 milligrams of testosterone and boom, like my skin on steroids was amazing. Yeah. I like was Superman. Coming off and having that dip, I didn't PCT properly, exploded in acne.
So during that time though, again, we joked about it, but the Plummer effect.
Yeah.
Steroids, was that the Plummer effect too? You had an IFBB pro guiding you, but at that point, were you just like, fuck it, I'm taking...
Oh, no, I did exactly what he told me.
You did? Okay.
Yeah, because I knew it was a little dangerous.
Okay.
Like, I was still like, oh, I need to be smart here. Like, there's some things that I'm like, oh, I'll listen to someone smarter than me on it.
Well, listen to me when I tell you, riding a dirt or a motorbike, doing 200K an hour in a t-shirt or in a t-shirt and or
usually tank top
and shorts and Jordans. Not a good idea, buddy. Okay, listen to me on this one.
That's a good point. Dad talk number 3.
Yeah, dad talk number 3. Yeah,
I know my age really shows in the podcast. I was telling him earlier, I'm like, I say things and you guys say things from an older perspective. I'm like, fuck, it makes me look young. But
no.
Because
old dog.
I had such acne and I documented the acne on my YouTube channel.
Yeah,
I'm like, what is something that everyone needs? So it's a repetitive sale. Because peptides are good, but like that's selective. Like your injury is healed, you're not going to buy that again unless you get hurt again. So I'm like, what's something that everyone needs every day that's super scalable that I could start? I'm like, holy shit, a skincare line. I'm like, that would explode. And not to mention, I'm getting hundreds of thousands of views of talking about how I worked on my skin.
Yeah.
So I went right into production. So started with one skincare company. It was like garbage. It was literally horrible. It never saw the light of day. It was making my skin break out more. So I needed to realize that I need to personalize the formula to someone with sensitive skin that was also like dabbling in steroids and like just more oily based skin.
Yeah.
So I went to Alibaba. Alibaba has everything you need and they will work with you on anything for a price, obviously.
Yeah.
So they sent me one bar. Gave it to 6 of my friends, myself, hated it. Had like lemon extract in it, which was like way too coarse on your skin. It literally made my skin break out because it was too like rough. You're not supposed to exfoliate your skin every single day. Yeah. So I'm like, okay, sent it back. They sent it back. It was like almost like too soft, too oily. So we added on top of the charcoal, deep sea mud, and then castrol oil to like give it more, like a healthy oil. But then the deep sea mud would dry your skin out. So it gave that perfect balance of like having dry skin, but like not to the point of Accutane that it was like cracking and uncomfortable.
Okay.
And like that was the one. Took us 9.5 months to get that done. So 9.5 months was doing the personal training, doing the other company, putting everything I had into that. Boom. I'm like, let's order 3,000 bars because I had the money. I'm just like, let's start it. 3,000 bars sold out in 2 months.
2
So
months.
I'm just like, damn.
And
So
how much a bar?
$9. Yeah, $9 USD. Because I only bought 3,000, I was paying like $5 for them.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, shit, like I didn't really make much money, but I saw that the idea was successful.
there. Yeah.
Then I'm just like, okay, let's buy 5,000. I'm just like, that should be enough to hold us over. We were sold out for 3 months because guess what? COVID.
Yeah.
What wasn't coming out of China? Product. So I was sold out for 6 months from that company.
And during that time, you were at your place. You had that little printer.
Yeah.
You were printing
I
out.
still do that.
I know. Yeah. And you print this little label out,
Yeah.
slap it on a box, and you ship it out.
Yeah.
Oh, so you're doing all your own shipping and everything. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Everything yourself.
Everything myself.
So-
we were doing like probably 500 orders, like every 2 to 7 days, depending on like the week, especially when the skincare was going well. Because like, and a lot of people buy single bars. So like I single-handedly shipped out, well, we sell a 1-pack, a 3-pack, and a 6-pack.
Okay.
Now we do a 1-pack, 4-pack, 8-pack, just because I get better pricing on it.
Yeah.
So basically you can get a 4-pack for the same price that the 3-pack was, because the soap was a little more expensive than other brands. So I brought the price like way down.
Yeah.
But we were sold out for 6 months. I'm like, holy shit, I don't know if we're going to make it. 5,000 bars come in, sold out in 4 months. Like, fuck me, man. So I was like, shit, like sold out again, obviously.
Yep.
So went back to drawing board. I'm like, okay, can we do 10,000? And then the last order we did, which was 10,000. So then scaled that company 0 to 6 figures. That one, because we were sold out for so long, took 9 months. So I basically scaled 2 companies to 6 figures in less than a year for each of them.
That's awesome.
On top of all the personal training stuff, which I don't really do anymore because, again, I don't like people. And then the brand deals and the social media stuff.
Wow.
So I was like, damn, like, but like I said, I didn't care about saving money because I couldn't do anything with it. The stock markets were tanking because of COVID.
Yeah.
Crypto, I believe in crypto, but I thought it was way too ahead for the time.
Okay.
And I didn't think crypto would take off until governments rolled out their digital currency.
Okay.
So I never got into crypto. So I'm just sitting here with so much money that I didn't know what to do with. That's when I really became the douchebag. Is because I feel rules didn't apply to me, things didn't apply to me, and I was I didn't know how to act. And I wasn't grateful for it either.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, it's ridiculous that I wasn't a millionaire by 25. That
that
pissed
right?
me off. That made me very, very upset. It still makes me very upset. Because I'm just like, the fact that I didn't like at least gross $1 million in sales by 25, like got me mad. It still gets me like mad to this day. Because there's no reason that I shouldn't have done that.
Just such high expectations on yourself.
So like I was like pissing away money, like being stupid. Instead of like, I did reinvest a lot of it into the companies to keep them growing.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like I was throwing away money because I'm like, can't invest in stocks, can't go to the house. I might as well just have the craziest 2 years of life I possibly could.
Yeah.
Which brings you back to why is Mark Plummer 0 to 100?
Yeah.
It's because like, as shitty as it sounds, it's because I could.
Yeah.
But like
No,
now,
that's not shitty though. That's your reality, right?
yeah, it was
that's,
like growing up, and it's like I would rather die knowing that I did everything I wanted to do.
Yeah.
And now that I've like kind of sat down and I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna make generational wealth by acting stupid and doing this. How can I set up like real wealth? And then you see all these successful people. They say have seven or more income streams. So I'm like, okay, what else is a problem that everyone wants and wants to fix? Teeth. I'm like, everyone is always obsessing about teeth. We did a public interview with girls. What is the most important body part on a guy? Almost every single one said smile.
Yeah.
That video got 700,000 views. I'm like, what's an easy product to promote? So 6 weeks ago, we launched teeth whitening. So pre-sales went crazy. We did 10K in pre-sales, just off the bat, just for teeth whitening product, which is sold in a conjunction with the soap now. So it just gets the average sale higher. Then we started Roid Rage smelling salts.
So that's coming out shortly.
Yeah.
The end of the month is
Yeah,
not?
exactly. And then we started Roid Rage smelling salts, which is just a smelling salt company for powerlifters. But because I had so much capital, I can offer it $5 cheaper than everyone else. Because me, it's not a making money game, it's a volume game. Okay. Same with the soap, same with the teeth whitening. Because no one's going to make money off selling a $9 bar of soap. You're going to make money off selling 10,000 of them.
Yeah.
So for me, it's just volume, volume, volume. The more eyeballs I can get to social media, the more eyeballs I can get on the company, means the more sales that these volume things will have, which is why I live so crazy on social media, is because one 3 million viewed post will bring 40,000 people to the website.
Yeah.
And that's how all of this ties together now.
That's
Makes sense.
Yeah, that's good. That's I mean, you're again using your social media influence
Yeah.
to actually make what will, you know,
Yeah.
Hopefully
eventually
be,
be
lifelong companies.
well, generational wealth, right?
Exactly.
That's the
Yeah.
that's the route you're taking right now.
Yeah.
So, real quick on the soap, because that's been the big one for you.
That's been the big one
So-
because it's not a gray area.
And-
Like
and-
peptides, now that it's illegal, I know I'm gonna have to
Yeah.
shut that site down eventually. I'm gonna wait until I get a note for everyone watching. Like, you can still buy them. I'm gonna wait until someone knocks on my door and says, "Shut your website down." So I'm gonna make as much money with. I'm promoting that harder than anything, because until
Ride
I'm
it till
told
it's
to
out.
exactly.
Are you sitting on stock right now of it?
I'm sitting on thousands of dollars of stock.
So
Yeah.
so
But it's like steroids. I mean,
Yeah.
it's illegal to buy and sell, but no one questions you once you have it.
Yeah,
So it's going to be under that boat. So am I still probably going to do it until everything else takes off? Because that is the main income source.
and that's the stuff that you yourself you've been taking it through your career.
I've torn my chest. I took it and it healed me in like 6 months. I was back to benching like 400 or 500 pounds. Hamstring. I mean, the stuff, I think anyone that has taken it can be like, this shit fucking works.
Peptides are really good.
They're amazing. And obviously that's why they're not FDA approved, because the government,
They cure you.
Yeah,
They
they
heal
want you to take a pill for the rest of your life to mask this. Like, they want you taking something every day, not something that's going to fix
They
you.
want pain pills, not
Yeah.
cure
Yeah.
pills.
Yeah.
Well, why don't just maybe it'll help with your business too, but why don't you describe peptide? What is a peptide so that people that are listening in?
Yeah. The two main
Yeah.
peptides that we're talking about are TB500 and BPC157. And basically, when you were to get an injury, if you were to strain, because obviously you guys are in the health field, you know, you're going to have so much inflammation built up in that area that it's almost nearly impossible to get blood flow, nutrients, hence like why you ice something that's super inflamed. For peptides, you would never really need to ice the area. Obviously, it's going to help, but peptides are going to reduce the inflammation and increase blood flow to the area, especially BPC157. So when I tore my chest, obviously tons of scar tissue is going to build up there, not much nutrients, not much range of motion. BPC157 is ideally injected as close to the injury as possible. So I would just pinch the bottom of my chest, inject it there, which would reduce the inflammation, allow me to do more recovery work because I wouldn't have the restrictions from the inflammation, and then more blood flow driven to the area in super simple terms.
And yeah, no, and to put in comparison, so what would an injection like that, what would that cost?
Usually they're anywhere from 2 to 10 milligram vials.
Yep.
Like the company the company I did have,
Yeah.
we were using 10 milligram vials. Now
Okay.
it's become illegal. They've reduced it to 5.
Yeah.
Because getting it is almost impossible now because they're a lot more strict coming across.
Okay.
You can't just ship this stuff anymore. So
Okay.
we had several get seized. Like we lost thousands of dollars of these things getting seized now. So now the price has severely went up.
Yeah.
But before, a 10 milligram vial would be $70,
So
$75.
so for those
And that would give you about 20 to 25 injections if you were doing 250 micrograms a day.
Okay.
And usually on a like level 1 to 3 strain or a minor tear would be enough to get you back in the gym.
And now, to put in comparison, the average person pays $70, $75 for that. In my world, at here at Nobility Performance, we have a machine that's over 6 figures to do that. So our light therapy pod, photobiomodulation,
Yeah, which is amazing.
does that. Yeah, you've used it, and it does that. But I mean, the average person is not going to be buying a 6-figure machine
to use every day because
do-
BPC's half-life is 6 hours. So you're taking 2 injections a day.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah. So
2.
like 2 or 3, depending how long you're awake.
Is that what it is? I didn't realize how.
Yeah, it's a
so
6
when-
hour. So TB500 has a
Yeah.
24-hour half-life.
Yeah.
Even, some could argue 48, but I say 24. So if you do TB500, you could do an injection every day or even every other day, and it's okay.
Yeah.
BPC157, 4 to 6 hours.
And that's optimal for recovery.
Yeah.
What if somebody chooses to take it less? Is that still okay? Or
It just depends. Like if you're using the peptides, you're using them for injuries. I
Right.
would not recommend taking peptides year round.
no? But if you've got
and I
say a busted bicep or whatever it is, so you would tell that person that they would administer it. And obviously, we're not doctors.
No,
but
exactly.
Well,
if a
let's
person was taking it.
let's cut cut to the point right now is that
Yep.
just because I do have a health clinic, I am not promoting this at any in any way.
No.
This is
from a drug abuser
this
to
no
regular
no
But
this,
no, we're having a conversation
no,
with a man who
open
sells
conversation.
peptides,
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
selling it. This is your business. You use it. That's what we're interested about. So so 4 hours.
Yeah, 4 to 6 hours. So it depends on the type of injury. If we're talking like a low level strain that an old man did at a hockey game with his boys, then would 250 micrograms every morning just give them enough to just heal up that process a little bit? Absolutely. If we're talking about high end athletes that compete at the top of the top who have just got a 50% chest tear, you're probably going to do that every 4 hours while you're awake to get the optimal recovery.
So who's your clientele then?
Everybody. For peptides, it's everybody.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Like I said, the business scaled to 6 figures in 4 months. And like it wasn't from like kids.
Well, that's it, because
or people with injuries, right?
Yeah, anyone with injuries, but like MMA fighters, hockey players, football players. The peptide side is one because there's never going to be a shortage of people. It would be like starting a casket service. You're never not going to have clientele.
So how do you get how have you gotten your business out there? Like,
This is the crazy part is we actually haven't run one ad yet. Yeah, for skincare or the peptide company.
it's
purely been like return customers because again, I always feel like you see these companies that explode and then boom, they're gone.
but
And
your return customer though is based on your social
our
media?
return customers based off of the products being amazing.
No, sorry, but
the new
your
customers are just social media and word of mouth.
yeah.
We treat customers how people would actually like to be treated, and we also don't put up with bullshit. Like our company has a lot of bad reviews based off of like if someone disrespects us, we'll disrespect them and make it public.
Yeah.
So
So
like,
are you
we're
doing
not-
this by yourself, or do you have
completely
business
by
partners?
myself. No, I'm 100% owner of all 4 companies. Yeah.
So-
I also have a clothing company too, but we just do limited drops every month.
Yeah.
So like every 3 months, we'll drop it, make sure it sells out just to create hype.
Yeah.
So we do that. And then,
With the same idea with Supreme,
yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah.
The no
yeah.
pump, no filter, just roids.
Yes.
Like we've done 4 drops and they've all sold out. And we haven't done it in 6 months because I've been too busy with other stuff. But same type of idea, but I'm 100% owner of every company.
Wild. Self-made like your parents.
Yeah, and I don't do I do my own printing, my own packaging, my own labeling. Unless I'm in the States, then I do hire somebody here to do it. But for the most part, if I'm around, I'll do it because I enjoy working.
You do the back leg to it.
Yeah, exactly. I hope we do grow to a point. Like I know to the point that I want to get the companies to, I physically won't have enough time to do it.
Yeah.
But like right now, I don't know like how people are like, oh, I'm so like pressed for time. I can't do this. I can't. You're probably not optimizing your day very well, to be honest. Because like I know you do a shit ton of things, and I know you're here all the time.
Yeah.
Like we all work out an hour to 2 hours a day. We also have a life outside of this.
Yep.
And it's like if someone was like, "Can you add this on?" I'm pretty sure we all could say yes.
Yeah.
So these people that are like, I don't have time. No, you just don't want to do it.
No. And I think that's I mean, Mark and I have talked about that. Is that you find time? Like people have come to us and they're like, "How do you guys have time to do a podcast?" It's like, well,
Found the time.
24 hours in the day, and
Yeah.
each podcast can be X amount of hours, and there's the leading up to it and post and all that. But you find it, and when you enjoy something, you don't really feel. And I'm assuming that you enjoy all of these things so much that it doesn't always feel like, oh man, I got to do this.
Yeah, but to the point, like I also don't enjoy a lot of it. But I'm just like, man,
No?
like I just want to be better than anyone else.
Just
And-
that drive.
Just the drive of not being good enough. And
Yeah.
that's why I'm scared. It's like,
Yeah.
man, if I wake up and I'm like, the companies are great. I could more or less like hire someone to do what I'm doing right now and probably go live on a beach and do absolutely nothing for the next 5 years and be okay. If I wanted to go to Mexico and never come back and just hire somebody to fulfill these orders, and most likely I would put a bank on not posting ever again online.
Yeah.
I would have enough repeat customers from the soap and the peptide company, as long as peptides doesn't get shut down, that I could probably make that last for 5 years and do absolutely nothing. But it's like that drive to like be
Is
that 0.1% of per people.
Do you find that the drive is for fear of failure, or the drive is for the desire for extreme success?
Extreme success. Because
Yeah.
I don't care. Like I said, that I would rather be in the position that I am now or be homeless. I do not want that middle life. I think that middle life is absolutely miserable. That's the only time I probably contemplate suicide or take what money I did have and go to like a third world country and live out the rest of my life there. Because I would never go back to like 9 to 5 paying more taxes than any single person on the planet, because the middle class are the people that get screwed the most. The homeless are like doing their thing, and the super wealthy are doing their thing, and all these people in the middle, they don't realize it, but they are getting fucked.
Yeah.
And like now that I've realized both ends of like, okay, when I got cut off at 18 and like having to do everything by myself, and then living the middle life, and then I wouldn't even say I'm even close to successful, but like
Why
being
do you
at
say that?
like tip of success.
But why do you think you're not?
So I compare myself to people like you guys, and like the extreme. And like I said, like if like a millionaire is broke in 2023, if you like, you can't live off $1 million now. So like if you're doing anything less than 7 figures, I mean, sorry, you're hurt. Like you are hurting if you want to live a comfortable lifestyle.
Well, I think it also depends on what that comfort and what that lifestyle looks like. Like
I say zero. Like the lifestyle I say is, as much as people want to admit it or not, the zero problematic lifestyle.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about problems in your company.
No,
I'm
no,
talking
yeah,
about
yeah.
you're driving to work today and you're both car tire. All 4 of your car tires are flat.
Yeah.
And you need $5,000
Like-
to go fix your car.
But
And not having to be like, oh shit.
yeah, yeah.
Or a tree hits your house, and for whatever reason, it's not covered under insurance.
Gotcha.
And you have a $20,000 bill, and you and your wife aren't being like, okay, who's picking up the extra job?
yeah, yeah.
Like that type of life.
Because again, I think we've already determined that I'm the anomaly here. But like, I would love to live an off-grid mini home on the water.
Yeah.
Man, that'd be my jam.
I want to live on a farm in Bali, bud.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ride
The
a
minute I
horse.
make the money, I'm out.
Yeah.
I'm gone as well.
Yeah.
Like I said, social media is not a long-term thing.
No.
I want to set up as much as I can, and when it's time, it disappear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when do you think that's going to be?
Like I said, it's hard because
Yeah.
like your projection is like
There's
when it-
variables.
Like
for
when is it
sure.
enough?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, this mountain to climb. Like the mountain to climb now is like hit that $1 million marker. But like I just said, like I don't even find a millionaire successful anymore. So I'm just like, shit. Like, am I gonna be in that constant loop of like maybe that's when
Yeah.
I hit 35? I'm like, shit, I need to go to therapy because I need to finally be content with like, be like, oh shit,
Yeah.
I have everything I ever wanted,
That's
and
what
I'm
happens
still
to all
not
of us.
happy. So then I'm like, I'll go to therapy, get my shit fixed, and then be like, all right, we're good. Like,
But I think no, you're right though. That is what happens is that when you get caught in that cycle of always chasing, you sometimes you don't appreciate the moment, what you're in. I know I've been there where I've chased what I've wanted to be extreme success, or what my interpretation of extreme success was, and then you chase it, and then you miss that journey. And that's the part that, as I've gotten older, I've learned to appreciate the journey. A few weeks ago, I was driving into the clinic and coming in to get actually treatment, and I was driving in, and it was interesting. I pulled into our parking lot, and I was sitting there, and I'm looking at the clinic, and I'm like, wow. I'm like, at what point is it gonna dawn on me, or I'm gonna sit back and look and be like, man, I miss that journey. I miss
The hustle or the grind.
of just wanting so bad for the success. Like my interpretation again of success with the clinic is helping people. So for me, I'm I know that as long as the clinic doors are open, we're gonna be helping people. But the journey of going through that, and the first person that and I still remember the first person where you're like, whoa, we made a difference in their life. That's powerful.
Yeah.
And I was sitting there and I'm like, man, I wonder at what point or if that'll ever happen where I'm like sitting back and going, wow, I miss that. I miss that journey of it.
Yeah.
I think as long as my hands are involved in things, I'll never miss it because I'm still active with it. Right.
Yeah. But I think you guys could agree too, is like the best part of even the tip of that, like the tip of this massive hill that I'm at now of success, is the only thing that makes this fun was not being able to like pay rent or like be able to afford anything.
What do you mean by that?
Because like when I was working a 9 to 5 job,
Yeah.
like like I said, I posted my first YouTube video 9 years ago. My first viral video was 3 years ago. So that was 6 years that I was on YouTube trying to be myself, trying to be popular, trying to post what people want to see, working a job for $11.60 an hour, like trying to save every penny just to get ahead. Which, like, obviously saving doesn't do much, but I didn't have enough money to do anything else. And like my parents weren't going to help me, nor was I going to ask them for help, because I would never ask anyone else for help. Like, I don't care if I was on the street, I still wouldn't ask for help. So like I would be like, okay, can't afford rent this month. Ah, shit. It's either going to be, am I going to eat this month? Am I going to eat? Like, what am I going to eat this month to make sure that I can afford this? Where now you walk into a grocery store and it's like, shit, I don't care. Like, oh, meat's $30 a pound. Okay. Like, cool. But like, that's the whole, like you said, the journey of like, the only reason I think I enjoy it so much now is because I couldn't do the things before. And now I'm hoping that as I continue to climb the ladder, it allows me to like look back now and it's like, okay, I can't fly private now, but when I can fly private, that's what makes private fun, was that massive journey. The journey of it. And that's the only reason I try to like have this like no fucks, no care personality, is because everyone is too censored. Like I think if like we kind of talked about earlier of like, if everyone could do, I don't know if I can say that, but if everyone could do magic mushrooms,
Say it all.
or like microdose magic mushrooms, and be like, like unapologetically and authentically themselves, where would society be? If you didn't have like a little bird in your ear saying, do this, say this, don't do this, stay in the lines, and everyone is like, yo, I'm gonna do exactly what I want. We are either gonna have World War like 4, or we're gonna have the best civilization.
Well, the first thing people would do is they would turn off their televisions, and then the world would start to heal.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
So like,
put down their phones.
Like I think part of that though comes down to fear. Like in society, there's always people are always gonna have fear of failure, fear of not being accepted, whatever that is. There's going to be the fear, but at the end of the day, that people need to harness that and grow from it and move forward from that. There's a lot of things that I do in my life, and at one point in my life, I had this thought process in my head where I was doing something, if not daily, it was weekly, to scare the shit out of myself. I would intentionally do things that were scary to me because I wanted to know that feeling and do it. To this day, like I do ice plunges, for instance, and you've seen ours, and I get in that, and still to this day, it's not fear because I know what that unknown is now, but it's uncomfortable. So I've now learned to embrace the being comfortable in the uncomfortable, in those things. And I'm still learning, I'm still growing. And I think that's for me, again, it comes back to that journey. I love that. I love that experience of like, okay, what's the next thing for me? What's the next thing for me now? My latest fear, if you will, honestly, is that thing right in front of us.
This camera.
It is. I absolutely hate being on camera. I do. And that also comes down to wholeheartedly insecurities in myself. I'm not physically where I want to be, and I know that. I got no one to blame but myself. But I'm putting myself in front of that thing a couple times a week now and doing that, right?
Right.
And that's the beauty of the journey for me. That's the beauty of it. Yeah. And I'm embracing it. I'm like, because if I listened to that fear, I wouldn't be doing this. And I value this connection and this connection more than that fear of being on camera. That's what it comes down to. And it's all in perception on how we interpret what fear is and what we move forward on.
Yeah, yes, absolutely. No, I'm with you on that.
Yeah, agreed.
Are you uncomfortable on camera too?
No.
Exactly. We've seen that. Well,
I don't mind the camera at all.
No, listen, Mark, we've taken up a lot of your time here. We're on a Sunday, and I know we've taken up a lot of time. Thoroughly enjoyed this. I mean,
thank you. You guys give me a lot of outlook too, because like I do understand. Like the one thing I can do is I'm very like self-aware.
Yeah.
You are.
And
you
like
are self-aware.
I know exactly, as much as people are like, yeah, you're manic. No, I know what I'm doing. Like if I want you to view me a certain way, I will make sure that happens because I know it's benefiting something else. But at the same time, is like me just being myself. I just hope it inspires other people to like stop caring. Because if you
Yeah.
can just do whatever you want to do and people will accept you and like you and you can make a living or a career or honestly just be happy, why would you not?
Yeah, I think, and I hope that through this conversation, what my intention was to, and I haven't said this to you, but you know, I'll regress. I've said this part to you is that the Mark Plummer that I first met was not the Mark Plummer I saw on social media, and I remember back in the day when I first met you, being like, who the hell is this guy? Because this is not the guy. And of course, like I know in my head, social media is fake. I get that.
Yeah.
But you're so genuine when I met you, and it was not at all remotely what I saw on social media. I was expecting you to walk in even to the clinic, do a backflip, do the roid rage, scream and yell, maybe toss a chair or two, and then run out. And then I'm going to be left going, well, what the hell just happened?
Yeah.
But you came in, you're shaking hands, you're very polite and genuine. And you had authentic conversations with me at the time. And I'm like, well, shit, this is the guy that, that people don't see. And then when the platform of creating this came on, I was actually talking to my best friend, and he's like, "Oh, who are the people you guys having on?" And all stuff. And I mentioned you, and he's like, "Oh my God, I love that guy. Watch him all the time." This is a guy that's in his mid-40s, and
Damn.
I'm going, yeah, and I'm going, what the hell? Like I've been making fun of him for watching TikTok, and
There it is.
and then all of a sudden, it's like he's like, "Oh man, I know who he is. I watch him. He's hilarious." And I was like, shit, you know what? Like the reach of your social media is far. You have like we were talking off camera, but 16 to 24 is that?
Yeah.
But
16 to 24, there is like, I would say, again, there's no girls, but
Yeah.
like it's purely like men.
but it's entertaining.
It's just entertainment. And two, like I just try to push people to just get out of their comfort zone and
Yeah.
like not care. The
But-
whole thing on me is like, you're going to die. I don't care if you're 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. It's never too never too late to start acting exactly how you want.
Authentic.
Yeah.
Authentic.
It's well, I'm glad out of this conversation now you know that who that one person in their mid-40s that follows you, who that is. You can relate.
You know who it is.
Yeah, you know who it is now. But it's great that you're authentic in that sense. And the reality is that society doesn't have to agree with everything you say.
No. I hope they don't.
I was just going to say, and it's clear that you don't want that.
No.
And that's the beauty of social media too, is that there is that free speech, that ability to say what is on your mind,
Absolutely.
whether people agree with it or not, and
That's how we grow as people. So what people don't understand is like I have a perception, but listening to you guys talk, obviously older,
Yeah.
both with successful relationships. Obviously, I'm the farthest thing from a successful relationship. Obviously, I don't have kids. So like listening to you guys talk also helps me like put into perspective. It's like, okay, the way that I do think right now is as a 25-year-old should think.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
I'm sure that I will go through a few more things in life and like eventually keep maturing. And
It's all a process, man.
yeah.
yeah. But even at our age, the reality is that we're still learning.
Oh yeah.
we like
Talk
and we
to our
still-
wives. We know nothing.
yeah, I'll let you know real quick. But the truth is that it doesn't matter. The goal, again, back to the journey. It's always learning and evolving.
Yeah.
Where we different, for instance, is that I think of I've been around a lot of death, and I've had and lost a lot of family and friends, and so for where you're doing the motorbike down the highway in a t-shirt, I'm the one going, okay, ride the bike, but wear the leathers.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
Have the fun, but use
have the fun,
safety.
but it also that
It
start
doesn't have to end. You can have your fun. It doesn't have to end.
yeah.
Yeah, and for me, that changed with the birth of my daughter, where I went from thinking I was invincible and
Right.
to all of a sudden going, man, I will do everything I can to protect this little one and also protect myself so that I can watch her grow.
Yeah.
And then my son came along, and all I want is to see them grow and be successful in their own right. And
You into having
and-
something to lose.
yeah, so there's something deep there for me. So I'm going to be interested when, 5 years from now, where we have Mark Plummer on the podcast and where you're at.
A
You know what I
family
mean?
man.
And
that'll be
if at
fun.
that
Yeah.
no,
That'll
but
be
at
fun
that
to see.
point, it'll be interesting. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's gonna
Looking
be
forward to
interesting.
that.
Absolutely.
This is where you're at now, and then 5 years. If you are that family man in 5 years, like what's changed with you? Like that's going to be fascinating.
Yeah.
I hope this is an archival podcast that we can go
Hope
back
so.
and
'Cause it's
do
cool.
it. Right?
It's cool to look from 22 to 25
Yeah.
and then 25 to 30. And
Oh yeah.
I hope I'm as wise as you guys.
Well,
Well.
it will come. You're a smart guy. It'll come.
I don't know that I'm necessarily wise, but
We like to think we are, but yeah.
no, it's good. But anyways, buddy, we appreciate the time.
Well, thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So where can people find you? Whether the sites
Same
or
thing for everything. Just the markplummer.com. No, I'll just say the Mark Plummer.
the Mark Plummer.
Yeah, at the Mark Plummer. If you type in Mark
Yeah.
Plummer on any social platform,
Yeah.
Find you.
until Bill C11 comes out, I'll be the first one that comes up. Yeah.
There it is.
No, fair enough. So at the Mark Plummer, it's been awesome. It's been fantastic. I appreciate your time here, and looking forward to watching your journey in many years to come, buddy.
Thank you.
All right, all the best.
Awesome.
Appreciate it.